Okay, we are going to get this meeting started. Thanks, everybody. We're starting a little bit later, so as we see everybody file to the seats. Thank you all for being here today. So on our first piece of business, as always my pleasure, I will ask Supervisor Sellers to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to welcome Carisha Allen with Internal Audit, who will give today's invocation, and also Susan Adams, also with Internal Audit, who will lead us in the pledge. Thank you both.
You could all please rise.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, invited guests, a pleasant good morning to you. I would like to say thank you for the invitation to be here today. It is indeed an honor to represent the Internal Audit Department this morning. Let us pray. Almighty God, we pause before you today with grateful hearts. Thank you, Lord, for each member of the Board of Supervisors. I pray for your continued guidance over them. Bestow unto them your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as they carry out the work of the Maricopa County. Bless everyone present and the proceedings here today. Help us to be mindful to give you the praise, the honor, and the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Clerk Fran McCarroll, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Gates.
Here.
Supervisor Chukri.
Present.
Supervisor Chukri is on the phone this morning. Okay. Supervisor Sellers.
Here.
Supervisor Gallardo.
Here.
And Chairman Hickman.
Here. Thank you, Fran. Jose Santiago is here from Animal Care and Control. Good morning, Jose. I know I heard them appreciating the prayer and the pledge today.
Yes, they were quite vocal during the the invocation and the pledge this morning. These two little chunky monkeys are both up for adoption at our West Shelter. They are siblings. They have been raised in foster care and they are ready to go. Their other siblings have already gone. They had 4 other siblings that have already been adopted out. These are the only 2 that are left. And I also wanted to take an opportunity to talk about our transports at the shelter. We have been quite full for quite some time now, and just this month alone, we have been able to transport almost 400 animals out of the shelter to create a lot of space for the animals that are still homeless in Maricopa County. So I wanted to take a moment to honor the ladies that work very hard in that program. And if I may, on a personal note, wanted to take a moment to let you all know that this will be my last Board of Supervisors meeting for the near future. I am leaving the county. That's probably why this one is a little whimpery. And I will be moving to another municipality. So I wanted to thank you all for having the honor and the privilege of telling the story of the shelter, and I hope that the community will continue to support all the hardworking individuals that are going to be remaining at the county shelter. Mr. Reynolds here, our West Shelter manager, will be your visitor from the next couple of board meetings until my replacement is found. So.
Well, Jose, for the board, I'm sorry to hear that. I did not know that. I'm going to miss your colorful personality and your colorful shirts. So thank you for doing such a great job for the county in that role. We're going to miss you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I also want to just add to yours. Thank you so much. You come here every day, and we see your smiley face with these lovely animals that come in and show us. I just want to thank you for everything you've done for Maricopa County and Animal Care Control. We appreciate everything you do. Good luck. in your new ventures. And yeah, we miss, you're always color coordinating with the animals.
This one, the eyes match the shirt.
There you go, there you go. But I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've done for us, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
If you ever want to come back, you're welcome.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you all.
You. Okay. All right. We will now consider the planning and zoning portion of our agenda. Ms. McCarroll, is anyone present to comment on items PZ1 through PZ4?
I have no slips for those items, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so under planning and zoning consent agenda, PZ1 is Falcon Ridge, PZ2 is Verde River Phase 6, PZ3 is Verde River Phase 4, and PZ4 is Verde River Phase 6, Unit 6B. The board will now consider agenda items PZ1 through PZ4. Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you. Supervisor Sellers? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a
I was
second.
waiting for Mr. Davis.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now I'm going to call up our PZ staff, Planning and Zoning staff, Jen Pekorski, the Director, and Darren Gerard, Deputy Director. On Planning and Zoning on the regular agenda is now item PZ5, Copper Ridge Equine. Maybe you can take us through the case, Jen.
Thank you, Chairman Hickman, members of the board. Copper Ridge Equine is a request for a special use permit with a term of 20 years for a large animal veterinary clinic, which will include surgery and hospitalization. The property is located in a rural zoning district in the New River area. The owners of the property live on site and are currently operating a home-based business for a mobile veterinary clinic. And a home-based business is allowed by right in rural zoning districts if it meets special considerations, which their current home-based business does. However, they would like to perform surgery on the site, which is why they're requesting and required to get a special use permit. We've received over 400 letters of support for this project, and we received, up through yesterday, 6 letters of opposition. This morning, we received a petition that had 37 signatures in opposition. Some of those signatures were duplicate to the previous 6, but we did not have the opportunity to fully analyze all of the signatures at this time. The opposition, though, raised a couple concerns related to traffic, the actual medical practices of the business, and then some environmental concerns, including the possibility that medical waste would be discharged into the septic system. So I'd like to just briefly address those concerns. First, the questions about any of the medical practices are outside the scope of the county's authority, and that is addressed by the Arizona Veterinary Medical Board. Second, staff does not believe that this SUP, granting this SUP would increase traffic. We're only looking at 2 to 3 surgeries a day and some days with no surgeries. And then Environmental Services has also determined that the proposed operation would be compliant with the applicable county regulations, health code, and the Arizona Administrative Code. And also the business will be required to obtain any other permits prior to operating, which would include a floodplain use permit or a stormwater permit. And those are always applied for after the land use entitlement is granted. So the question before the board today is a land use question. It is whether or not a large animal veterinary surgical clinic is an appropriate use for this area and this property. And New River is largely an equine community, and that is why staff recommended approval of this SUP, and also the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this SUP. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Do you remember the vote on the?
I believe it was unanimous.
It was a unanimous vote out of our
7-0, I believe.
committee.
Is that correct,
Okay.
Darren? Yes.
Okay. And this is in Supervisor Gates' district. So do you want to say anything first? Because I will bring up the applicant if you. Okay. The applicant, please, if you could come up. I will tell you, good morning, everybody. My assumption is the vast majority of people that are here today are about this issue. So many of you might never have attended a County Board of Supervisors meeting. So we'll go, I want to talk to you. Everybody's time is valuable, and I know that you have driven out here. So what I'm going to do to try to keep things moving along, the applicant is going to be given 5 minutes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because of that, the applicant getting 5 minutes, I will give 5 minutes first to a representative, if you guys have selected a representative of opposition, and then we'll go into some more of the comment period. But I will tell you, we are looking at specific items about this. This is a land use issue. So as we hear from maybe a 5-minute commentary on both sides, then I'll talk a little bit more, because it's looking, I don't have speaker slips in front of me, but I'm assuming I'm going to get quite a few.
About 40.
About 40. Okay, that's a lot. So I understand that that's a lot, and you need to as well. So go ahead, the applicant, state your name, please, for the record, and address.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ed Bull, 702 East Osborne. I am here representing Justin and Christine McCormick. Mr. and Mrs. McCormick are both veterinarians. Justin is an Arizona native and is a second-generation vet, and his dad was a vet here in the Valley for many years. His focus is on equine surgery. Christine is also a vet, and her focus is on equine rehabilitation. We have turned in over 50 of the signatures and support, the sign-in and support for this morning. In the interest of time, I'm guessing a couple of them will speak. I in particular would like an immediate neighbor to speak if time allows. We will suggest to all others that unless you want them to speak or have particular questions, that I don't think all 40 of them will need to speak, but that's of course up to the board. With respect to the site, as I think you know, is located on 11th Avenue. The McCormicks own about 8.5 acres that's outlined in red and outlined in blue. They live on the property. The 8.5 acres is all approved under an ag exemption, and they also, as Jen indicated, have a home occupation for the yellow building that's on this site. The yellow building is the existing building that's authorized for a veterinary practice. The building that's has a little white box above it is where the McCormicks live. The McCormicks and their 2-year-old daughter have lived there since before any of these improvements were underway. When we look at the overall site plan, the blue is the McCormick's home, the yellow is the particular building that we're talking about. In the front is this doesn't show up on there, but in the front is the McCormick's home. Behind the gate, the building that's back there under the gate supports is the particular building that we're talking about. This is the building. It exists. It lawfully operates as a vet clinic under the home occupation. It has been complimented by many people as being very characteristic of the area. That was the south elevation. That's the west elevation of the building as well. As you know, staff has been supportive and it remains supportive of this application. They've, in their staff report, detailed several reasons for their support, which Jen touched on this morning, all land use based, and importantly, no outstanding issues with any reviewing agencies. The Planning Commission hearing was well attended. We had, I think, 40 people or so here in support of the application, 15 or so spoke. The testimony from our perspective was focused on land use. Some others talked about some other things. They were reminded that the decision was to be based on land use, and it was, and the vote, as indicated, was unanimous of the 7 planning commissioners that were present. My comments today in the opening will be focused on land use. I point out here that the McCormicks have been in the processes for a long time and have done everything that they understand that they're due to do under the various county processes, including they've even submitted for the commercial permit that they need, which can't be granted unless and until the SUP is granted. But a long list of things that they've done, a long list of places that they've been, including a couple months ago, they were asked to participate in a discussion with the Arizona Veterinary Board, who reviewed and discussed various things, and apparently were fine with the operation, which they've been to and have seen, and they took no action to change anything. The State Veterinary Board has issued a license to the McCormicks for their clinic and for their mobile unit. As you know, a lot of equine veterinary practice is done out of a vehicle. We have submitted upwards of 400 signatures in support. Some are distant. Importantly, 6 of them are immediately adjacent to the site. 62 of them are within 1.5 miles of the site. This particular exhibit shows the SUP property in yellow, the various shades of green around it. They could all be green, but then you can't distinguish the different properties. But as you can see, the 6 adjacent properties in support and many others in the immediate area as well. We appreciate the recommendations for approval. We appreciate also the support from the New River Desert Hills Community Association and the support of our neighbors. We request your board's approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bowles. Before I let you go, so you went a little bit over, so I'll let the opposition go a little bit over as well, over the 5 minutes. Any questions for Mr. Bowles as of yet? No questions, okay. Thank you. Is there a representative selected from the community? Okay. Okay. Mr. Kimball. Let's have Stuart Kimball come up.
Mr. Chairman, County Supervisors, my name is Stuart Kimball. I'm here representing a number of the residents of Desert Hills, not all of them. As we'll talk about here, hopefully at the very end, it's a growing number, which was acknowledged today. My work, because one of the comments from here is that the opposition is that we just don't want a business there, and that's incorrect. There's actually been letters to the county saying, look, there are other areas nearby, very close by, that this would be a better location for it. The difficulty we have is, even the dates that were given to you, is there were misrepresentations as to what's going on. On the June 28th, 2019 Department of Environmental Services letter, they go there and say they have no concerns based on the explanation provided by the applicant on June 27th, 2019, and that's normal. However, despite that, the county goes there and decides in this letter to make it quite clear, flows to the on-site wastewater treatment facility shall not include wastewater resulting from animal care or surgery, medicines or chemicals related to animal care or surgery, nor chemicals or wastes related to the cleaning of animal care or surgery. Now, what was told to the county, and even the residents when they had their meeting, was that that was not an issue. The procedures they were planning on taking would not have a problem. And so based on the representations of the applicant, the county said there's no concerns. However, what they showed you is the last date was in November of 2019, and yet in December of 2019, based on not only additional review by the county staff, but also complaints from neighbors, that guess what? The standard operating procedures they were planning on doing were absolutely inconsistent with the representations they made to the county and the public, and that it would violate the regulations that are here. And the only thing that occurred is the county said, can you change your non-enforceable document to be consistent with the 3 prior representations you made to the county? So what is the chance that the applicant's not lying for a 4th time or misrepresenting? Maybe lying's a little too harsh. How are they not misrepresenting it? Well, we went there and met with the county staff, who were very professional, very kind, met with us in a very quick timely manner. And they said, well, we can't really go there and inspect it unless there's a complaint. Well, the problem we have with bad actors in the business community, and I'm one of the biggest proponents of the business community. I've worked with the county on the Regulatory Bill of Rights. My entire business is making sure that businesses can quickly operate and have the least amount of burdens placed upon them. However, the county is the one, with all of our legislation, we worked with them, said, give us the flexibility to go after bad actors. Because bad actors make the rest of the industry look bad, and it also goes out there and creates unintended consequences. And that's what we have here. We have someone who's misrepresented 3 times to the county and to the public what they plan on doing. And the county says, we can't go out there and enforce it. There's no inspections, there's no mandatory inspections, there's no regular inspections to go out there and make sure there's a problem, when your own regulations say that despite the clear representation you received, it violates your own standards. And now these are environmental standards. A use that creates an environmental problem should be looked at more. The reason why it's a growing concern from the community, and the reason why it went from 4 to 35 or 31, depending on the duplicates, is why? Because people are starting to find out that what they were told was inaccurate. And there's absolutely no protections provided by the county or additional stipulations to make sure that their own regulations are protected, that the water sources for nearby neighbors are protected. That is absolutely unfair. We expect government to go out there and protect us, protect our rights, protect our waters, and that's all the community is asking for. Make sure they comply with the law. We shouldn't just simply allow someone who's misrepresented 3 times to now be honest now just because they got caught and the county said you need to then make a change. There has to be something enforceable to protect the community. To be honest, it should go back to allow the community to be aware of everything. One of the great things that this county has received national praise for is the transparency, the due process procedures, the participation with the public. And yet the public was duped. They were not told the truth. The county was not told the truth. They found it out in December. And everything was changed behind closed doors in order to allow this applicant to continue to move forward. That is not right. That's not what this county has done historically, especially over the last 5-6 years. And we ask that more be done to make sure that the residents are protected. With that, if there's any other questions.
Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor.
Mr. Kimball, good to see you.
Good seeing you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for all the work that you and your firm has done over the years, working with us to become more business friendly. Maricopa County, I appreciate that. Just trying to understand a little bit better some of what you were talking about there at the end. Again, I agree with the statements that have been made here. I want to keep the focus on land use. Having said that, I want to drill down on kind of some of the allegations you made here. So you're saying that help me understand exactly what you're saying as far as the environmental services and not being willing to respond to complaints that might be occurring on a particular property.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Gates, that's what we were told by the county in January. We had a meeting in January. The county staff, again, very professional, very prompt in getting and sitting down and talking with us. And we asked and said, well, what is done? And the response was, well, the only thing we have are complaints. Well, here's the problem. This is their private property. This is their home. As they showed you, you're going to have to cross through their home to be able to get to the business. So a normal person who is, trying to look at probably doesn't have the right just to be tromping around their house. I'm a pro personal, rights and property rights. I don't think that's appropriate. The only other alternative is potentially a party who's going there to do work. Now, again, one of the problems with bad actors in an industry is they get a competitive advantage because they don't have to go out there and do all the procedures that are in place. There are procedures that I'm being told by other vets nearby in these equine hospitals that they're required to do by the county that are not being required here. And so the only way they're going to find out is if someone complains. That's what I was told by the county staff. Now, here's the problem. If I go to a hospital, let me tell you, I've been in the hospital many times for surgeries, kids. I have absolutely no clue what they do with their waste. My only concern is whether or not my patient or myself is healthy and strong. So if we're expecting the people who are bringing their animals there, who are getting healed, that their obligations to go look and see what they're done with this waste, and from what I understand, the type of surgeries that can be done there, there is significant amount of waste, which is why the county has a regulation. And so those things are not taken care of, and there's no opportunity to make sure that they're compliant with what the county itself specifically included to make sure. And despite this, there was at least 2 other occasions, including the end of November, where the applicant misrepresented to the county as to how they were going to comply with those. And that's the difficulty we have, is what procedures are in place to make sure that the county ensures that what is prohibited won't actually occur.
Okay, thank you very much.
Further? Okay.
Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm just wondering, since there have been some issues raised with respect to environmental services in the county, if we might be able to call up our Director of Environmental Services. Is Darcy here? Yeah,
Sure.
if I think that would be helpful. I
Absolutely.
have a couple questions for her.
Yes, sir. It's your district, so thanks for being here. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Darcy, I want to just, again, without getting too far afield here, because this is a land use case, but I do want to understand, if we have a situation where, we have certain regulations, we have certain responsibilities for them, the allegation's been made that we wouldn't address them at this property. Can you respond to that?
Sure. The conversation that we had was that we will respond to complaints, resident complaints following the approval and permitting of a septic system. But the conversation we had in terms of what we don't typically do is we operate under authority from Arizona Department of Environmental Quality. And for conventional on-site wastewater systems, we don't have the authority to go out typically after the approval of that permit and the system is in operation and obviously turned over to the homeowner. We don't have a mechanism and the authority to continue to go out and proactively inspect that system. But what we do have is we have the authority to look for public health nuisances. And so if there is a complaint about a public health nuisance, if that system is failing and there's sewage on the ground or any other issues that would constitute a public health nuisance, we do respond to those complaints and have the authority to address those.
Okay, so if there were any complaints to come in as it relates to the septic system, there'd be nothing keeping us from going in there, and in fact, you would respond to it?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very good. Okay. One more opposition would be, goodness, Kimball again? Or is that, oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. Put it on the wrong side. Miss Cindy Morton, I'm sorry.
This is 2 minutes.
Yeah, Miss Morton, so I'll give you 2 minutes because if you're in opposition before we get to the period.
I don't know if I can read that fast, but I'll do my best. I am also a neighbor down the street. My background is in hospitals, 30-plus years, building them, designing them, working with transportation engineers. I know hospitals. We're calling this a veterinarian center or office. It's an emergency center, an urgent care center. We are in Desert Hills. New River's north of us. We're in Desert Hills. We have arenas. We have cow ropers. We have horses all over Desert Hills, which is lovely. Horses that cost anywhere from a couple $100 or gave it to me to $20,000, $25,000 for rodeo roping horses, barrel riders, etc. These are high-end issues, and these veterinarians are welcome. Love them. We need them. I've had horses. That's not part of it. But the transportation is an issue, and nobody has yet said anything about the people who live there with the children. There's over 1,500 kids in Desert Mountain and Boulder Creek, just in Desert Hills. There's school buses that go up and down 11th Avenue. We have no sidewalks. The only person who drives 25 miles per hour there is me. The rest of them are going back and forth. Every owner who is taking their horse, and an orthopedic issue is a death issue for horses unless they get to someone as good as this vet is, which I understand he's terrific. That's great. It's the wrong location. Every owner who's got a horse who needs immediate care, and that's their vet, their truck and trailer becomes an emergency vehicle. They're coming across Desert Hills. They're coming from New River. There's no lights. There's no siren. They're going as fast as they can, and I don't blame them. If it was my baby, I'd be doing the same thing. Nobody's talked about the quality of life and how it will impact us. And 2 minutes is not really fair, because there's a lot more to this. But the whole issue of the transportation, Mr. Kimball's right. I don't want that aquifer below me. I've been in real estate now for 15 years. Broker in 2 states, have my own agency. You give them commercial this, and then they go to commercial. The 5 acres on the corner of Maddox, the 4 acres across the road from them, their property value just went up, and mine now sucks because I have now the potential for a Circle K. And you might ask yourselves, why don't a hospital put an urgent care right there? Why didn't they put one on Joy Ranch? They went down by the freeway where the transportation in and out is what it should be. This is not the location for it. And those kids are on bikes, walking, riding. You gave us a Desert Hills Trail on 11th Avenue on the west side of the road. All you've done is put up signs. Okay. There's nothing to walk on. There's no safety. And even if you fix it, there's still no safety.
Okay, so you brought up the transportation issue, so thank you.
And it's emergency. It's not just a veterinarian center. It's emergency.
All right, thank you. Thank you for being here, Ms. Morton. Okay.
These two, person didn't put down, bought it off of here. Second group, person I don't know. Keep those to the side.
Okay. Okay. So I will call up 2 people, one to speak and one to be ready to speak. So there's a lot of potential speakers here. And again, please know that this board is hearing you, but keep your, if we can, if somebody is already registered a complaint, there's about a certain subject, there's no reason to go further expound on it unless you have something incredibly enlightening about that same subject. Okay, so we don't, be aware that this is a land use issue. Okay, so we've heard about transportation now, and we've gotten some answers about the environmental side. So I will give everyone 2 minutes as I get through this. If I feel like we're retreading the same field, some of you will understand that. We're not gonna keep doing that. Okay, so at least with this amount of speakers. The first one up, I would like to call up Ms. Barbara Johnson and Mr. I believe, Glenn Crane to be a second speaker.
Just to be clear, everything you have is in favor.
Okay.
I don't have any others.
Okay.
Than those 2 you already did.
Okay. Ma'am.
Hello, my name is Barbara Johnson, and I live at, it's off of 150th Street in Dynamite, so I don't live right by the McCormick's, but I have a pre-veterinary degree, and I've been in this horse business for years and years. I go over to McCormick's a lot, and I have to tell you, on this land use item, their place, there's like one at a time horses coming in. I've seen more traffic come into those horse farms over there. They're already permitted way more than at McCormick's. And they run a very clean organization. They are spotless, they're quiet. You've only got one vet. Christine runs more of the rehab, but Justin does the work. Like on the lameness, that's his specialty. So I don't think you're gonna see any ER emergencies. He's a lameness vet, so people pull into him we have to make an appointment in advance. And I think that'll address that issue. But they are just a first-rate family, and it's a very clean, quiet operation. They put the big fence now. That picture is not representative of their place. They have a big double gate that you come in to their barn area. Now their house road is separated off, so their main entrance is over here. So you wind quietly up there by the clinic. So it's, yeah, so I think that addresses all of your issues. If you have any questions, I could answer, but they are great. This would be a great project.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Mr. Crane.
Glenn Crane. They've took care of my horses for a couple, 2 or 3 years now.
Okay.
I've had them out there. I've been there many times. I've never ever seen anybody drive in there fast, especially if their horse is hurt. They're not going to drive fast. I can tell the opposition that I come in there a lot. I never drive fast. It's a great place. Good people.
Okay.
They could be great for the community.
Thank you, Mr. Crane. Next up, Mr. DeWitt, Joe DeWitt, if you'd like to. And following Mr. DeWitt, it will be it looks like John Barrett. I hope I got that right, but go ahead, Mr. DeWitt.
Joe DeWitt. I run a training practice within a mile of practice. In regards to driving there, driving in a car, we have seatbelts and seats, and you feel very safe going very fast. A horse in a trailer, I don't know if you've ever tried to stand up while you're driving. If you go fast, you're throwing them down, they're already hurt. So traffic is, if anything else, will be way slower than usual, and it might hold some people up that are trying to get by you.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of my practice uses Dr. McCormick for their animal care, and it's great that it's that close to my facility that we can have his services available. I strongly encourage the board to approve their use. It would be a great use to our community. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Mr. DeWitt. I believe it's Mr. Barrett.
Mr. Chairman, board members, my name is John Bassett.
Okay.
And
Bassett.
I live in Dewey, Arizona. I was in the racehorse business for over 40 years. And I knew Justin when he was a little kid, and he was a problem child. But he's grown up to be my veterinary. Now, the only reason he is my veterinary, I use Chaparral Hospital. My wife loves those veterinaries. They do a good job. And I can tell you, because I've been in all those clinics, and I've been around the outside of those clinics, you couldn't find a cigarette butt at either one of them. They are immaculate. I want to bring something up about the horse population in this state. First of all, the largest horse population is Dallas-Fort Worth. Consequently to that, Dallas-Fort Worth is the largest horse population in the world. The second in the United States is Ocala, Florida, and the state of Florida. And it's all race horses, jumpers, polo horses. The third largest is Scottsdale, Arizona. In 30-mile radius, they're the third largest horse population in the country. Now, I know there's a lot of veterinary clinics here. In fact, there's a veterinary clinic between Justin's clinic and Chaparral. Why aren't they here? The situation is, and I know why we're all sitting here, and I'm going to keep it to myself. But as far as problems with biochemicals or something like that getting in your water, it's not going to happen. These people, when they do surgery, all that is contained. Their syringes, their needles, they're capped in boxes of biochemicals. They don't go nowhere. They're handled by the state the way they're supposed to be handled. The situation with my situation between Chaparral, I use them both.
Mr. Bassett, thank you.
Okay.
Just 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Okay. Mr. James Foley.
I'll make this quick. I'm a veterinarian that's been here since 1985. And I agree completely. Both those facilities are very clean and handle things very well. And I think Dr. McCormick's facility is excellent. I have helped him do surgery there, so I'm familiar with that. And I don't think I think it's an excellent use of that land. It fits in with the neighborhood. I really would agree. I don't think the traffic concerns are significant. It's a short distance through the neighborhood, and they're all horse facilities and ranch facilities, and I don't think anybody's going to be driving 80 miles an hour through there with a horse and a trailer. I think it's a perfect use of that area, and I think it should definitely be still held up as approved.
Great. Thank you for being here today. Only if necessary. So that's this entire list. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm just trying to get some paperwork all figured out. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I believe the rest that you have, there were a number of people who registered in favor to speak if necessary. There was another group that registered in favor, but they simply wanted to be registered in favor. They did not want to speak. And I just want to assure you and these folks that all of those names will be included in the minutes of this meeting, but unless someone on the group that said speak if necessary, if they felt they needed to add something, I think we can simply list all the rest of those folks. A number of these were in favor. All of the rest that you have are in favor.
Yeah, so then that means I'm done with this. So real quickly before you've got a couple hands up. In favor? Sure, come on up.
There was one other man.
And one other man, that you have something you feel that you need to say. Okay,
And one lady in the far back.
come on up. So instead of me going through this stack, just state for the record where you live and who you are, please.
My name is Sonia Walls. We live in Nebraska part-time, and we live in Whitman for, it's about half the year. And so I just wanted to...
District 4, by the way.
Thank you.
That's my
I obviously have never been to one of these, so I don't know. So bear with me, but where I'm from, we don't have this kind of facility, so I kind of wanted to throw an outside opinion. So like I said, we come here for about 5 months of the year. We bring 15 to 20 horses personally with ourselves, and from the caliber, ours are like 100,000. So it's very important. We need the good health care. We travel to Copper Ridge regularly for our equine athletes, and when I'm there, I never worry about the diseases. I don't worry about contamination because everybody loves their horses. But if they're as valuable as we say they are, I'm not going to go someplace where I worry about contamination or infectious diseases or things not being clean or not done professionally. And I just wanted to also say in regards to the traffic, with the lady saying we would drive wildly. If I drove that wildly, my horse would probably be dead by the time I got there. So actually, if your horse is injured or sick, you're actually probably going to drive a little more carefully than normal even, because you're not going to risk further damage.
Yeah.
And almost all of us have children. We would never not watch for children. We would never not watch for traffic, because if I don't watch for traffic and I run into somebody, not only do I endanger myself, I would endanger my sick animal. So I do not believe that's a valid point whatsoever.
Okay.
So I just wanted to speak from someone who doesn't get this kind of care unless he's here.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Ezra Craig.
Okay.
I am up here, wasn't planning on talking today.
Ezra, where do you live?
I live at 34 West Spear Trail in Desert Hills, Arizona. I've lived there for 17 years, sir.
Okay.
I have 3 kids that go to high school. One graduated last year. The other 2 go to Cactus Shadows. They drive on those streets. I've been seeing all these kids grow up for the last 20 years, obviously, close to 20 years. Justin just moved in there a while back. I don't know how long ago it was. He's definitely improved the area. It's not an eyesore to drive by anymore. On the other part that I'd like to bring up is my company is No Waste Grindings, and I haul off all the used manure for a lot of these folks here in this room probably. That being said, Justin's went above and beyond to dispose of his used bedding and horse manure more than a lot of these folks have in Rio Verde and Queen Creek, all over the whole state. I mean, I have 15 trucks on the road, and I can vouch for him that he does it 100% the right way.
Okay.
And it's being used the proper way. You guys have any questions?
Nope, seeing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Ma'am, please state your name,
Desiree Yentz,
address.
23170 Sullivan Drive, Congress, Arizona.
Okay.
I have been a vet tech for several years. I've been able to work at 3 different vet clinics, and as well as for the McCormicks, and they are probably by far the best as far as cleanliness, the cleanest clinic. Dr. McCormick is probably one of the neatest, cleanest surgeons I've ever met, and everything is disposed of properly. That's all.
Okay, good. Hey, thank you for being here. And thank you for keeping it brief. We appreciate that. Sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dan Hansen. I reside at 37220 North 11th Avenue, which is adjacent to the McCormick property. We share a fence line. My wife and I operate Katy Bar Ranch, an agricultural entity there. We have horses there, have world champion horses that stand on that fence line adjacent to the McCormicks. I get a unique opportunity to most of the people that have spoken here today in that I literally look across the fence to my neighbors, and I'm here to speak in overwhelming support for this operation and speak to the character of people that we're talking about in the McCormicks. I don't care what regulations we can impose on any people or any business. If you don't have the character of people that run a clean operation, take care of their waste, you don't have anything. And I can speak to the McCormicks as being very clean, very tidy. We've been there as they have added improvements to the property. All of the improvements are done in very good taste. They're spaced properly. The facility is clean. The traffic flow in and out of there has been considered to allow room for horse trailers and pickup trucks, that kind of thing, to have proper turning radiuses, that kind of thing. I've never seen a cleaner place with regard to the waste. I think this is exactly the right place for a veterinary hospital, contrary to, let's say, a human hospital as was compared a little while ago. This is a rural area, and the vet business is a rural agricultural business. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Next.
My name's Russell Longo. I live about 4 houses away, 36915 North 11th Avenue.
Okay.
The traffic will be what I'll talk about. You are so correct. People fly down the road, but it's never the people going to visit just in places, because I could see them. It's the people that live there, or I hate to say it, are the worst. And like everyone says, you know, horses and trailers, you can't. And I had an injured horse, brought it somewhere else because he's not a 24-hour clinic. And I drive slower, more cautious, because you do have an injured horse when you got to go to an emergency. Just saying, all the kids, I know all the people on our street that you have to drive by, the people with kids, they support it. I've met with them, talked with them, just to see how they felt.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. And last, but certainly not least.
I hope not. My name is Elizabeth Hinton, and I'm actually from College Station, Texas. I'm here supporting Justin, but also I can speak to a lot of things. I have 23 years experience in an equine operating room. I'm the surgical coordinator at Texas A&M University Large Animal Hospital. My career has been spent in an equine OR. I've seen thousands and thousands and thousands of surgeries where we do a lot of surgeries. I actually got to take part in Justin's training as a surgical resident when he did his residency with us. So I've seen his facility, I've seen his hospital, and it's amazing. His operating room, like if the concern is biohazard waste from an operating room, the type of surgeries he's going to be doing, or hopefully be doing, the things that come out of that are going to be sterile solutions that are used. It's going to be, we're talking about a few liters of things. We're not talking about gallons and gallons. There was a letter written about gallons and gallons, and that's not what's going to happen at that facility. I've seen the worst of the worst. We are a referral hospital where I work, and even in that condition, you know, they're talking about drains and things in a floor. A drain is not going to solve a problem. Our rooms flood. We have cinder block walls. He has cinder block walls. The things that we produce in our surgeries don't go outside of our walls. So the likelihood of something from his OR contaminating the water source is absurd in my mind, because it's surrounded by cinder block walls. And so I think his surgical facility meets, I know it meets the AAEP guidelines, and that's what you want to know. Okay. And he's respectable. I helped train him, so he's a phenomenal surgeon and just an upstanding person in general.
Thank you. Thank you for coming from Texas A&M. Whoop, whoop. Sorry, I had a niece graduate from there. I'm programmed efficiently, I guess. Okay, so a lot of people in favor. I just want to make sure that everybody felt, between the comments that were made to the board, everybody felt heard if you were in favor or against. I hope you felt that everything was addressed that you wanted to address. I'll turn it over to Supervisor Gates. This is in your district, so.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to thank everyone for coming today. I know where you guys came from. It's a long ways down here. So thank you for taking the time to come and be heard. I really do appreciate that. Because it is so far that you guys come down, just want to put a little plug in. I do a monthly meeting not too far away from you guys on Desert Hills at the Daisy Mountain Fire District, the third Tuesday of the month over the lunch hour, open, you know, for you guys to come in and raise any concerns you have, like the traffic concerns. I've been making notes here on 11th Avenue. We'll certainly be following up on that. And again, that's an opportunity to not have to drive all the way down here, but to come see me and raise these concerns and others that you have with the county. I've represented this area for over 3 years now. I'm really, really proud to represent this area. I've gotten to know the people up there well. And if I understand one thing, it's that this area, Desert Hills, New River, is rural in nature, and you guys want to keep it that way, and I support that. And that's why, you know, hearing today the concerns that people have raised, and what I've heard is that this business fits with the area. Obviously, you have a lot of people who have horses in the area. It makes sense. And let's make sure that we understand and we're all on the same page here. A home business like this is allowed by right in this area anyway. So the only issue here is whether the surgeries will be allowed to continue. I've heard the concerns, and I am confident that environmental services, if we have complaints and concerns, they're going to go out and address those. But I also appreciate the information that people have given to us. First of all, happy to hear that everyone's driving safely out there on the road, so thank you, keep that up. But then also that there is going to be, you know, limited impact by this operation moving forward. So again, I appreciate everyone coming today, and thank you for that. Mr. Chairman, thanks for giving everyone the opportunity to be heard. But with that, I make a motion to approve agenda item PZ5.
Okay, I have a motion to approve item PZ5. Do I hear a second?
I second that, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Thank you to both of you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, good luck. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you. Okay. Now still with the regular agenda on planning and zoning, item PZ6 will be continued indefinitely at the applicant's request. Also, I understand there is a request to continue item PZ7 to the February 12th meeting. We will need a vote to continue this item. Is there a motion?
Well, no, go ahead. Since this one's in my district as well, I'll make this motion to continue.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. And Steve, we know you're out there.
The entire agenda is in District 3.
Yeah.
The way it should be.
Oh, yeah, you can have as many of those topics as you'd like, Bill. Now under statutory hearings, clerk of the board, item 5, liquor license applications A through F. A, new license for Sun City Smoke Shop. B through F, special event license for order of AHEPA, Recreation Centers of Sun City West, Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Phoenix, and Anthem Rotary Foundation, Rotary Club of Anthem. Fran, is there anyone present to comment on items 5A through F?
None, Mr. Chairman.
The board will now consider items 5A through F. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under county officers, county attorney, number 6, administrative change to recognize new lessor. Number 7, accept funding from the U.S. Department of Justice. The board will now consider items 6 and 7.
Move for approval.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under the sheriff, number 8, the board will now consider item 8. This item requires a unanimous roll call vote. It is for the transfer of retrying canine to its handler. So I need a motion for a unanimous roll call.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of item number 8.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. I have a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. I have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Supervisor Gates?
Aye.
Supervisor Chukri?
Aye.
Supervisor Sellers?
Aye.
Supervisor Gallardo?
Aye.
And Chairman Hickman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Still under sheriff, number 9, accept state criminal alien assistance funding. Number 10 under superior court, appoint superior court commissioner as judge pro tempore. The board will now consider items 9 and 10. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve items 9 and 10.
Thank you, Supervisor Gates.
Second.
Have a second. Thank you, Supervisor Sellers. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under air quality, number 11, amend license agreement with the town of Fountain Hills. Under animal care and control, 12, a New Hope agreement with All About Animals Rescue, Inc. 13 through 16 is donations. And under budget, item 17, second quarter pay for performance pay plan adjustment. The board will now consider items 11 through 17.
So moved.
Thank you, Supervisor Gallardo. I have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gates. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Still under county offices and departments, finance, number 18, appropriation adjustment. 19, designee for expenditure limitation report. Number 20, electronic funds transfer authorization. Number 21, funds transfer and warrants. Under human resources, number 22, market ranges. Number 23 and 24, personnel agendas. I'm sorry. The board will now consider items 18 through 24.
Motion to approve items 18 through 24.
Thank you, Supervisor Gates. Did I hear a second from you, Steve? I think I did. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion against? None? Or, I'm sorry, any against? Nays? Anything?
No.
Okay, don't hear any of those. Motion carries. Human Services, 25 through 26, agreements with Arizona Department of Health Services, Arizona Department of Housing, 27 through 30, amend agreements and IGAs with City of Tempe, Arizona Public Service, Town of Gila Bend, Arizona Department of Housing. The board will now consider items 25 through 30.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of items 25 through 30.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Park and Recreation, number 31, amend contract for design, construction, use, and maintenance of dock and boat houses. Number 32, donations. Under Procurement Services, number 33, Program Management Services for Home Rehabilitation. Under Public Health, 34, purchase order for IGA with the Arizona Department of Health Services. Number 35, amend an IGA with the Arizona Board of Regents. And number 36, amend a lease agreement. The board will now consider items 31 through 36. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Jack. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under Transportation, number 37, traffic signal agreement with Gen Arizona 28 LLC. 38, Research Board's Roundtable Forum and payment of annual dues. 39 through 41, agreements and IGAs with City of Phoenix, Town of Cave Creek, Buckeye Water Conservation and Drainage District. Number 42, easement, right-of-way, and relocation assistance documents. The board will now consider items 37 through 42.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under Board of Supervisors, 43 through 44. Under Appointments, Jack Sellers, Regional Public Transportation Authority. Heather Personi, Board of Adjustment and Drainage Review Board. Under 45 through 47, reappointments of Maria Teresa Solis, Travel Reduction Program. Bill Gates, Board of Health. Steve Gallardo, Greater Phoenix Ryan White Council. Under Industrial Development Authority, and number 48 is a resolution to modify and restructure bonds issued for Mark Community Resources, Inc. The board will now consider items 43 through 48.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve these items, even though some of these people are questionable, and I'm 45, 44, and I believe it's 42, but I will move the motion.
Thank you, Steve. Do I have a second? And having all the comments registered in, too.
I question some of these people as well, Mr. Chairman, but I'll go ahead and second.
Yeah.
Question everyone but the last name.
That's right, Mr. Chair. I mean, especially Jack Sellers on transportation. He's just going to be a fish out of water on this. I don't know, but I guess I'll reluctantly vote in favor.
Apparently, Supervisor Chukri and I are not doing anything. You guys have a whole lot more jobs.
We noticed that, but we weren't going to say that.
All right, I got a motion and a second. All in favor? I'm sorry, Steve?
I said, Mr. Chairman, we're the ones holding the fort down while they're at their meetings.
Yeah, I'm losing control. I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Congratulations, boys. Under setting of hearings, clerk of the board, number 49, bingo license application for Lost Dutchman Social Club, 50, road de-annexation from the city of Avondale. The board will now consider items 49 and 50.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve items 49 and 50.
Thank you, Supervisor Gates. Oh, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Did we need to vote on PZ6?
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, was PZ6 Born to Run?
Yes.
Yeah.
That item was continued indefinitely, so it was, we don't need a vote to continue it to an unknown date. In order for that to come back to the board, it will have to be reposted and re-advertised, so it will come if those actions happen.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. All right, we're under consent agenda. Number 51, donations. Number 52, tax abatements. Number 53, Head Start report. 54, precinct committeemen. 55, duplicate warrants. 56, stale dated warrants. 57, settlement resolution of property tax cases and claims. The board will now consider items 51 through 57.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of items 51 through 57.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chair, I think on number 57, I may need to step out on those.
Okay, go ahead and how about go ahead and step out if you don't mind. We'll redo it and go 51 through 56. Okay, 51 through 56.
Mr. Chairman, I'll amend my motion to approve items 51 through 56.
Okay.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Now, under item number 57, we'll wait for Mr. Gates to leave the dais. And he has. Item 57, settlement resolution of property tax cases and claims. The board will now consider item 57.
Move for approval?
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We'll invite Mr. Gates back. I'll do it again. I think I remember that. Which, is that on both of those? Yes. Okay, we will go ahead
Oh, I'm sorry.
and get rid of them again. Thank you, Bill, wherever you may be. County Attorney, A1, San Diego Gas and Electric Company Property Tax Appeal Case. A2, Mesquite Power LLC Property Tax Appeal Case. The board will now consider items A1 and A2.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of item A1 and A2.
Okay, I have a motion?
Second.
And I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Let's see if Bill's legs are tired yet. Okay, we will now recess as the Board of Supervisors and convene as the Flood Control District Board of Directors. Under Flood Control District, F1, Personnel Agenda, F2, Easement Right-of-Way and Relocation Assistance Documents. The board will now consider items F1 and F2.
Move for approval?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We will now adjourn as the Flood Control District Board of Directors and convene as the Library District Board of Directors. Under Library District, L1, Donations, L2, Personnel Agenda. The board will now consider items L1 and L2.
Motion to approve items L1 and L2.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Under the Stadium District, we will now adjourn as the Library District Board of Directors and convene as the Stadium District Board of Directors. Stadium District S1, authorized to remit car rental surcharge revenues and increase in budget authority. The board will now consider item S1.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of item S1.
Thank you, Mr. Stadium Secretary. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. We will now adjourn as the Stadium District Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors. Item number 58 is our public comment period. And thank you, Fran. There are, how many do I have?
This one and then all of these, this one only if necessary.
Only if necessary. Okay. Okay. Couple speakers. We will hear first from Hannah Edwards in the public comment. Thank you, Steve.
Hello, everyone. My
Good
name
morning.
is Hannah Edwards, Mr. Chairman. I'm here as a parent, and I want to raise awareness and also find out what I can do it as a parent, as a citizen, about what I encountered in the library. My daughter checked out a book that was addressed specifically to teens. She's 13. And I found out that my daughter is now terrified of reading. She petrified when I asked her where the book was, where why she's not reading. And it appeared that the book was about disturbing a person with, having issues with their body, discussing their, very personal, deep, private concerns, with the profane language in that book. When I went to the library, they basically said that the mother shamed me. They said that it's my job to read all the books before giving it to my daughter. I asked them if there is any system, any rating that my daughter cannot on her teen account check out the books that are not kid appropriate or any RMA rated, and they said nothing like that, and it's basically off their hands. It's my responsibility. They were very rude with me. I'm here because I couldn't get any resolution with them, so I'm asking you to do something or help me to direct me where I can go with this issue, because I cannot consciously basically encourage my daughter going to the library, so have the same issue as neighbors in my area having the same issues. So
Thank you.
I would like questions.
I don't know, I think you might want to remind the rules, but I just wanted to ask Joy something on that. Joy, I don't know if there's a note that she can leave behind for Cindy or something. I don't know how that works. That's never come up here. So.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Hickman, sorry, I'm still getting the hang of it. Chairman Hickman.
Egg farmer.
Valerie Beckett is here. I'll ask her to meet with these folks in the lobby to get their information.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Wayne, the lady will meet with you at the back, that lady.
Okay, next I'll call up Lorena Bader.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wouldn't it be an accomplishment if animal welfare organizations throughout the United States looked at Maricopa County animal care and control as a model of compassion, efficiency, and progressive sheltering practices? Look no further than PAC in Tucson under the direction of Kristen Auerbach to see what this board and county management needs to do in order to make MCACC a leader. Previously, you mentioned making decisions without emotions. I value rational decision-making. However, I do believe you would be remiss in assuming the citizens you represent won't rank animal welfare high on emotional issues. Whether it is the way animals are treated in a factory farm, pet stores selling puppies from puppy mills, or low standards of care for shelter animals, people are concerned and want better treatment for animals. It is a subject with broad support across party lines, and I believe our community will stand up for what is best for the homeless dogs and cats of Maricopa County. What can you do in the interim while you do your research on best shelter practices? Form a citizens advisory committee to provide much needed oversight. Request an operational and financial audit to analyze strengths and weaknesses. Ask for input from key stakeholders in the community, nonprofits, cities, and animal welfare leaders. Visit the shelter, walk the kennels, and talk to staff and volunteers about their concerns. Then visit PAC and do the same. Interview the numerous employees who have quit, been fired, or forced to resign. Meet with Arizona Animal Rescue Mission and other large donors who no longer provide support and find out why they severed ties. Your mission is to provide regional leadership for Maricopa County. You have now been provided with some serious problems, and you do have the power to make much needed changes. As anthropologist Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It is the only thing that ever has. We aren't here to change the world, but to make the lives of staff, volunteer, and the animals at MCACC better. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bader. Ms. Erica Edmark, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
It appears that risk management is a trending subject these days at MCACC. That doesn't surprise me, as both the number of in-house bites and the total amount of workers' compensation paid out has increased in the last 2 years. There were 24 bites and $186,000 in payouts in 2018. Do you know what else happened in 2018? Mary Martin hired her friend to head up the behavior team at $88,000 per year. Part of her job is to reduce the number of bites, which hasn't happened. In fact, the opposite has happened. Some other essential job tasks of hers where we have seen evidence to the contrary include frequently handles dogs, creates educational materials for adopters, and communicates effectively. In 2019, there were 27 bites and $187,000 in payouts. Also in 2019, Samantha Wessel was hired as volunteer coordinator. In addition to alienating current volunteers with her rude and condescending demeanor, the slow, rigid, and restrictive volunteer process she came up with has dogs getting out of their kennels even less than they already were due to previous volunteer retention issues and understaffing. What do you suppose happens to a dog that doesn't get out of his kennel for a week at a time? When it comes time to remove him, he isn't on his best behavior because he has gone temporarily kennel crazy. This results in bites that would not have happened under better circumstances. The correct risk management approach isn't more control, more rules, and less interaction with the dogs, but that's what's happening now at MCACC. This is actually counterintuitive. The best approach is better and smarter control and more interaction with the dogs. This requires trust of volunteers, education, appropriate staff headcounts, and help for the overworked employees. The result of this crackdown on bites is more dogs being put down, often with no consideration being given to the circumstances surrounding it. Last week, Maricopa County killed 10 dogs in a 24-hour period. This didn't have to happen. I am begging you to rethink this current approach. MCACC is a sinking ship. Jose has already bailed. Please don't let it submerge completely before fixing it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up will be Ms. Lisa Cummings.
My name is Lisa Cummings. I'm a volunteer at MCACC. I'm here to discuss changes that have affected the volume of volunteers. The number of volunteers they recruit versus the number they actually stay is disproportionately small. On weekend days, we used to see over a dozen volunteers helping, and now we're lucky to see 3 volunteers in the entire West Shelter. Several things have impacted that. Risk management imposed changes to the volunteer program that have increased training for new volunteers to 16 hours to work with level 1 dogs and 32 hours to work with level 2 dogs. Volunteers have to put in 8 hours a month. That means it takes 2 to 4 months just to get trained. The new training process takes too long and doesn't capture the volunteer or engage them in what they want to do, which is be with the dogs. Why do you care if there are fewer volunteers every month? Volunteers are free labor, and that saves you $16 to $20 an hour in staff time. More volunteers means more dogs get walked. The more dogs walk, less risk management has to worry because the dogs get to expend energy. Walking the dogs improves their mood and prevents kennel decline that could otherwise result in bites or psychological damage. More volunteers means we don't have 3-hour waits in line for the public to meet dogs. Shorter lines for adoptions mean more adoptions actually happen. Few people walk out in frustration, and fewer dogs end up being killed due to overcrowding. In summary, shelter management will not acknowledge that there aren't enough volunteers right now, and they refuse to change recruitment and training processes that are obviously flawed. The more dedicated volunteers there are, the fewer paid staff are needed, and the more dogs' lives are saved. Thank you.
Thank you. Now Ms. Kathleen Bow.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The volunteer program is our volunteer program is an absolute disgrace, and nothing is being done to improve it. Although they were to have a task force to get back on track, it has been proven to be a farce. Nothing appears to be changed, and the volunteers are discouraged, angered, and feeling defeated. Mary has told numerous people that she needs to get all new volunteers. However, the same thing will happen to them, and you can't treat people the same way they do and expect different results. You mentioned that you wanted an efficiently run shelter, and you were also concerned about finances. Free labor is available, and through your inaction and the management's actual abuse, you are throwing money out the door. We just lost one of the best pet photographers in the valley, Heather Haltmeyer. Her services were worth thousands of dollars, and after 6 years, she couldn't take the toxicity any longer. We are likely to lose Carrie Friesen, who decorates the shelter for every holiday and event. Now let's compare our pitiful volunteer program to Pima Animal Care Center in Tucson. They had 89,000 volunteer hours last year, equating to 43 full-time positions. Our combined shelters had 36,000 hours, which is 17 full-time positions. To match PAC, we would need 138,000 volunteer hours for the number of animals in our care. We have, instead of getting new volunteers, they just make it impossible. 16 hours of scooping poop or doing laundry does not inspire potential volunteers. During this election year, we will continue speaking to make other people aware of what you guys are not doing. Maybe voting you out is our only hope for positive change. Thank you.
Okay, and on the same topic, which is she just wanted to register in favor of the other conversations that we've just heard, is Chris Schweit. Okay, so thank you for being here as well. Okay, Madam Clerk, is that all the speaker slips we have today?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now we will then move to item number 59, Supervisor Summary of Current Events. So I'll start with Ms. Joy Rich. Okay. Jack.
I have a long list here, so I needed to take a drink.
Yeah.
Okay. Since our last meeting, I attended the Town of Gilbert State of the Town, Chandler Chamber Public Policy Committee meeting. They had Representative Blackman and folks from ASU and DES there talking about criminal justice reform and employment efforts that go along with that. Very, very informative session. Last week, I had the opportunity to tour our flood control district in my area, which included actually my district as well as some of District 2. And I think people don't appreciate enough the challenges and the efforts that go into flood control. And I was very appreciative of Mike Fulton providing me that very enlightening tour. So thank you for that. Yesterday, I started the morning at a East Valley Partnership Transportation Committee meeting where we had updates from the Town of Gilbert and from Scott Smith on transit. And I followed that up with a meeting of the State Transportation Board study session where they made a preliminary presentation of the 5-year tentative plan. But more importantly, for me at least, they gave a presentation on the Broadway Curve project on I-10 that's going to start a little over a year from now. And for anyone that hasn't already heard me say this, that will be the most disruptive project ever in this state. They will replace all 5 bridges in that curve as a part of that project. So I want to ensure that people really understand, and there's going to be a lot of public outreach to educate people and to try to minimize the disruptions caused by that. But I just want to ensure that we have that message out to as many people as possible. So, thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Chukri, if you're still on the phone.
I am, Mr. Chairman, and just wanted to thank you for allowing me to participate by phone today, and sorry I couldn't be there in person with all of you.
Awesome. Well, we missed you. We missed you today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I know there's been a lot in the news recently about the coronavirus and the fact that we have an individual here who's tested positive for the coronavirus, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to Marcy Flanagan, the head of our public health, and all the people working in her area. They've put in innumerable hours over the last week or so. I'm actually the Board of Supervisors representative on the Board of Health, so we had a very timely meeting on Monday where we received an update from Marcy on everything that's being done, and it really is an incredible effort by our people here at Maricopa County Public Health. ASU, I think everyone knows that this individual who has tested positive for coronavirus is an ASU student, and we can assure everyone, as has taken place, that the appropriate measures have been taken to make sure we don't have additional spread from this individual. And again, and then finally with the state Department of Health Services, Kara Christ and her team over there have been working hand in glove with Maricopa County Public Health. So just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of them for everything that they're doing, and also to help people know that we're on top of it, the state's on top of it. And so everyone needs to know that. Secondly, wanted to mention that my next coffee chat will be next Wednesday at 8 a.m. We've historically done these on Thursdays. We're moving them to Wednesdays for 2020. And our special guest next Wednesday will be Scott Jarrett, the Director of Election Day Operations for Maricopa County. I know I've got a lot of people out in my area who've got a lot of questions for Scott, and I think that's great. It'll be wonderful for people to see what a fantastic job Scott is doing in collaboration with Ray Valenzuela, of course, from Recorder Fontez's office. And we're going to be doing the coffee chat at a different location, getting over more to the east and the south of my district, over in the PV Mall area with the Civitan Foundation. They do great work in our community, and so they're going to host this next Wednesday at 8. So hope you can all join me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Gates. Just a couple things on my side. Thank you for bringing that up. I have had a lot of calls just from people that know me about this coronavirus issue, so it's nice to see public health working on that. We are still going through a process of a selection of an appointment of another public elected official, so I want to thank all the county for keeping their eye on that, keeping it available. There are 12 people that have registered that they are interested in that job, and I know our board is going to be busy with that very quickly on making a selection for that important office to the county. And I also wanted to thank Cindy Gentry and your budget staff and Joy and all the agencies and the elected officials for getting their budgets in and working on that so we can hurry the process and keep that going in a good way for our board to make some decisions upcoming. So with that, that's all I had. So I believe we have other meetings that we've got to do, so I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks for everyone being here.